In this video, we're going to introduce parallel lines and perpendicular lines. So parallel lines are lines that have the same slope and different y-intercepts. Okay, so if I have two parallel lines, their slopes are the same. Okay, the rise over the run is the exact same rise over the run for the other one. And the intercepts, however, you can see the intercepts are two different intercepts. Maybe that one's 0, -1, and this one's like 0, 5. So they have different intercepts, but they have equal slopes. So the thing to remember is the slope is equal to the slope. Okay, equal slope. Now, perpendicular lines, those are the exact opposite. They are the negative reciprocal slopes. So what does that mean? If you have one slope of m, then the reciprocal is m is 1 over m, but it's also negative, so I'm going to put the negative in there just like that. Okay? Now, what does that look like graphically? If I have a line, okay, a perpendicular line would pass through the line at a 90-degree angle, okay, a right angle. Those are perpendicular lines. Now, one way you can abbreviate parallel, I will let you abbreviate parallel by drawing two lines like this, and I can let you abbreviate perpendicular by drawing this right here. Okay, so if you draw this, I know you're talking about perpendicular, and if you draw this, I know you're talking about parallel. So if you want to abbreviate using those symbols, that is perfectly fine with me. Okay, but perpendicular lines, they intersect at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so the angle to which they intersect is 90 degrees. So to give you an example, if I had a slope of 2, then the perpendicular slope would be -1 over 2. Okay, so that's the negative reciprocal. Say I had a slope of like -3/2. Okay, the perpendicular slope, what would that be? The perpendicular slope would be, well, we do the reciprocal, which is 2 over 3, and then the negative of negative number is a positive. Okay, so you see all you're doing, one of them's positive, one of them's got to be negative, and vice versa, and then you do the reciprocal to do perpendicular lines. Okay? So I want to do a couple of examples here. So I want to find the equation in slope-intercept form. Now, why do I use slope-intercept form and not point-slope form? Because the good thing about slope-intercept form is it tells me right off the bat what the slope is for the line parallel to the given line and passing through the given point. Okay, so the first one, I want it to be parallel to the line 6y minus 4 equals -3 times 1 minus 2x, and pass through the point -2, -2. Okay, so how do I do this? Well, what do I need? I got a point, I need a slope, right? So how am I going to do this? Well, The only thing this tells me right here is what the slope is. How do I know it tells me the slope? Because parallel lines have the same slope, they're equal. So if I can find the slope of this equation, then I know the slope of the line that passes through that point. Okay? So let's do it. So 6y minus 4 equals negative 3 parentheses 1 minus 2x. Distribute the negative 3, I get negative 3 plus 6x equals 6y minus 4. All right, I'm going to add 4. So what do I have? I have 6y equals, now I've got a positive 6x and then a plus 1. Divide everything by 6. And so I have y equals x plus 1/6. X plus 1/6. Okay. So what's going to happen now? All right, what's going to happen is I know my slope. My slope is equal to 1. So my m is equal to 1. And I want it to pass through the point negative 2 comma negative 2. Okay? So let's do slope-intercept form. Y equal mx plus b. So y equals 1, since I know m is 1, times x plus b. And then I have the point. X is negative 2, y is negative 2. So I'm going to replace the y with a negative 2, and I'm going to replace the x with a negative 2. So I have negative 2 equals negative 2 plus b. If I add 2 to both sides, what do I get? B equals nothing. It equals 0. So this becomes y equals 1x plus 0, which simplifies to y equals x. So my slope-intercept form of that line that's parallel to the point negative 2 comma negative 2 is y equal to x. Now, what if instead I wanted to find the line that was perpendicular to 3x minus y over 4 equals 4x minus 5 over 2. Okay, and it passes through 8 comma 5, right? So I want to find a line that's perpendicular to this line here. So what do I need to do? Find the slope, m, and then since it's perpendicular, I have to do the negative reciprocal to get the slope that goes with this thing right here. Okay? So let's get the slope, m. So how do I get the slope? I solve for y. Solve for y. If I solve for y, I find the slope. So let's go ahead and multiply through to get rid of the fractions. Looks like the least common denominator is 4, so I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So when I do that, the 4 here and that 4 cancel, so I just get 3x minus y equals. But then when I distribute the 4 here, I get 4 over 2, right? That 4 and over 1 times, so the 2 and the 4 cancel to get me 2, right? Okay, so what does that simplify to? This becomes 3x, that cancels to make 1, minus y equals, and then this cancels to make 2 over 1, so that's 2 times 4x minus 5. And so I have 3x minus y equals 8x minus 10. Now solving for y, I minus 3x from both sides. I get negative y equals 5x minus 10. Divide by negative 1. I get y equals negative 5x plus 10. So my slope here is m equals, what's the coefficient in front of the x? It's negative 5. So the perpendicular slope is the reciprocal, the negative reciprocal. So I flip negative 5, and then I multiply by negative 1. So the opposite of negative is a positive, so this is positive 1/5 for my slope. So I have a slope of 1/5 and a point 8 comma 5. I want it in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to do y equal mx plus b. So I have y equals 1/5 x plus b. And now I replace x with 8 and y with 5. So I have 5 equals 1/5 times 8 plus b. So 8 over 5 plus b equals 5. Subtract 8 over 5 from both sides. Okay, so you can type that in your calculator. 5 minus 8 divided by 5. Enter math frac, 17 over 5. So that tells me that b is 17 over 5. And so I'm going to take that and plug that into here, and I get y equals 1/5 x plus 17 over 5. And that's my answer. Okay? Now, one last type of problem you might run into. So say you have two lines, and I want to determine if two lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay? So I have negative 2y plus 4x equals 4. And I have 2x minus 2 times parentheses x plus 2 equals 4y minus 2x. Okay? So what do I do for these types of problems? All I need to do is look at the slope. Okay? If it's equal, then it's parallel. If they're negative reciprocals, it's perpendicular. And if it's neither one of those, then it's neither. So if I solve for y, okay, try to get y by itself, what do? I subtract 4x from both sides. I get minus 2y equals minus 4x plus 4. Divide by negative 2 everywhere. And this gets me y equals, well, negative 4 divided by negative 2 is a positive 2x minus 2. So my slope here is 2, okay? Now let's see what the slope is down here. If I distribute the negative 2 here, I get minus 2x minus 4, and then I've got my 2x over here, equals 4y minus 2x. Combine these two, the x's cancel. So I have negative 4 equals 4y minus 2x. I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I have 4y equals 2x minus 4. And I'm going to divide everything by 4. So I get 1/2 x minus 1 equals y. Now what's my slope here? It's the number in front of the x. That's 1/2. So my slope here is 1/2. Now, are these negative reciprocals of each other? They're reciprocals, but they're both positive numbers, okay? So they are not perpendicular. They are not parallel because they're not the same slope, so that would be neither. Okay, so that would be an example of neither going on there. It's not parallel, it's not perpendicular. In order for it to be perpendicular, the slope would have needed to have been negative 1/2, okay? That would have been perpendicular. Had it been m equal to 2, that would have made it parallel. Okay? All right.